Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is day one of me restarting my sourdough starter. If you guys have been following me on Instagram, you know that I tried it, but my starter wasn't really that bubbly. I don't think it was the best. I made bread, it still came out good, but it didn't look like everybody else's sourdough bread. So we're gonna start over today. So day one, all you need to do is have a bowl, all-purpose flour, whole wheat flour, and filtered water. And so what I'm gonna do is make a combination. I'm gonna do 25 grams of white flour, 25 grams of whole wheat flour, and then 50 grams of water. From a lot of my research, it has to be like the same amount of flour and the same amount of water. And that's it, and then you're just gonna let it sit there for 24 hours. Alright, first the white flour. I'm gonna move this fast. So the first recipe I did was a little different. So I'm trying a different recipe since that one didn't really work out. Okay, 25 grams of flour. Alright, now we're gonna do 25 grams of whole wheat flour. And then I think when I make the actual bread, I'm gonna get bread flour because a lot of the recipes say that's better. And I didn't have that. Okay, so now we're gonna do 25 grams of whole wheat. 25 grams is not a lot. Okay. What I'm gonna do first, for my water, I have filtered water here. I just need a cup to like measure out the water. So this is gonna be 50 grams because 25 plus 25 is 50. Gotta scoop some out, went way over. Oh, perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna put that in here and just mix it up, and you're gonna let it sit on your counter, loosely covered, for 24 hours. It's quite easy. You just have to like take the time, and you have to do it like exactly like the timing. So yeah, I'm gonna mix this better and then I will show you guys a day two tomorrow. It's day two of my starter. I've got a few bubbles on the bottom here. You could expect to see some or not see some. My battery's gonna die. So I'm gonna take half of this out and do the same exact thing I did for day one. I'm gonna do 25 grams of white flour, 25 grams of whole wheat flour, and then 50 grams of water, and then I'm gonna let it sit for another 24 hours. The important part to remember here for day two is to remove about half of your original starter that you have. This is about the half that I took, and now I'm gonna add the flours and the water. All right, so now I'm gonna mix it up, and I'm gonna let it sit for another 24 hours. So it's day three now. Look how bubbly, sorry, the lighting, there's so much light behind me. Hold on. You could tell, but like the last time I did this, I didn't show every day on camera, but it didn't rise like this. So again, it's day three. We're gonna take out half, add 25 grams of whole wheat flour, 25 grams of white flour, and then 50 grams of water. So I've got my 25 grams of white flour, 25 grams of whole wheat flour. It already zeroed out. And then I'm gonna measure my water. I'm gonna use this. Where's my tablespoon? I'm not gonna have to do this by the teaspoon. I'm just gonna put in about 50 grams of water in here, and then I'm gonna mix it all together. So this is what it looks like after it's done mixing. On day three, we're gonna let it sit for another 24 hours, and then you will see the difference about like how bubbly it gets. My last one never got bubbly, never doubled in size, so I think I'm doing something right this time, and I think that difference is using whole wheat flour. And my last recipe, I fed it every 12 hours. This recipe, it's just every 24 hours. Maybe that made a difference too. But so day three, I'm gonna cover it and let it sit again. All right guys, so this is day four of my starter. I don't know if you could see all the little bubbles. I think we're getting somewhere. It should not be ready yet on day 4. But I'm gonna repeat the same process, remove half. It's definitely rising a little bit. My last one didn't really rise that much. I feel like I said that every day for you guys. I can't remember what I said the previous day. So we are gonna remove half. We're gonna do 25 grams of white flour, 25 grams of whole wheat flour, and 50 grams of water. Same old thing. Tomorrow is day 5, and it should be almost there. Sometimes they say that this could take longer than 5 days. Some recipes say 5 days, you're good, you're golden. But you do it until it starts like doubling in size. So I'm gonna keep doing it the right way this time. Last time I was just like, okay, day 6, I'm ready to start my sourdough, just because I was like so excited to do my sourdough. I mentioned another thing that I did differently this time is I'm using filtered water. Last time I was just using water out of the sink and doing more of my research. Filtered water works best. I've got my 25 grams of each, and now I'm gonna do my 25 grams of water. I don't wanna dump it because I don't want it to go, not 25 grams of water, 50 grams. Because if you do too much, you can't take it out. So you can call me crazy for doing it with a teaspoon, or I probably have like just 50 in here. Nope, over by 1. Okay, so now you just mix and let it sit again, guys. This is a lot of just mixing and letting it sit. So this is day 5. I am gonna feed it one more day, see what happens. It is bubbly, but not as bubbly as I think it should be. So the recipe suggests 5 days, but sometimes it takes longer. So I'm gonna repeat the same process, take out half, 50 grams of flour, half whole wheat, half white, and then 50 grams of water. To start over, I have 50 grams of the starter. I start over in like a new bowl just because the other one's getting like so crusty, because it is supposed to be like equal parts of each. So now I'm going to measure the white flour. I really hope I can find flour at the store. I've been baking quite a lot. Okay, so we're almost, 25. I almost did 50. Holy cow, guys. I'm so glad I thought. All right, got to get the whole wheat flour. All right, so 25 grams of the whole wheat flour. And now we're going to do 50 grams of water. I'm sorry if this video is very repetitive. It's the same thing every single day. And hopefully tomorrow it passes the starter test. The starter test is when you put a little bit in water and it floats. My last batch failed that, but it still made bread. So fingers crossed this passes it. So I'm just gonna mix it up and sit it on the counter for another day. All right, guys, it is day 10 of my sourdough starter. And yesterday I decided to split it up into 2 just to have more because the recipe that I have calls for 150 grams and I wasn't sure how much I had. So I decided to make 2 out of it. So let's see if it passes the test. It has not yet passed my the water test, but this one is looking so bubbly. They both are. So the way to test if your starter is ready is to get a little cup of water and drop a little bit in there and it should float. Okay, so I've got my water. It's the moment of truth. Again, if it doesn't float yet, we just keep going. The recipe says 5 days, but it could take longer. Ah, look, it's floating. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So because I fed this morning, I don't have to refeed it. Because after having it feed for, I think, 12 to 24 hours, you feed it one more time and then it's ready for bread. So we are going to make some bread. Okay, so all you need for the recipe is ready to go starter, salt, flour, and water. And it's all based on weight. I will leave the exact recipe that I'm using down below. But it calls for 150 grams of my bubbly starter. So if you don't have enough starter, you're going to want to feed it again to get yourself enough, which is why I did 2. I made more or less this morning. I made the 2 last night, and then I fed it again this morning, and now it's ready to go. So I will save some to be able to keep the starter going. And then we're gonna do 285 grams of filtered water. I have that right here. It's not measured out yet. And then this says bread flour. Unfortunately, because of quarantine times, I don't have bread flour. You can just use white flour. I've researched the heck out of it. It might not be as good if I had bread flour, but we can do it. And 9 grams of sea salt. So the first thing we're gonna do is just mix it all together, and then it's gonna rest for 30 minutes. You're gonna want a kitchen scale to do this because you wanna make sure that your measurements are very accurate. So I have it on grams. Can you see that? It's very little right there. So we're gonna do 150 grams of the starter. One container, I had exactly 151 grams. Okay, good, I'm so excited that I could save that one, because if this works out, I'm gonna make my mom a loaf to send over. Okay, so we've got the starter. Now we're gonna add the flour, the water, and the salt. Added a few too many grams of salt. It says 12. Okay, so I've got it all in here now. So then we're just gonna mix it up and then let it rest. I was gonna say let it wrap for 30 minutes because I was reading. This is the same recipe I used the first time. The first time I was just impatient and I didn't wait for the starter to float. So I am going to hope that this comes out way better. Just mixed everything together, and now I'm gonna let it sit for 30 minutes, and then after 30 minutes of resting, we are gonna go in here and just knead it for about a minute, and then it's gonna sit overnight. So it's been 30 minutes. It's gonna be a sticky dough. So all you're gonna do really is just kind of like knead it like this, like folding it in for about a minute. And then it's gonna sit overnight, and it's gonna hopefully double in size if I did this all properly. I mean, I should have my my starter doubled. Sorry, this is all over the place. All right, hasn't been a minute yet. I'm gonna keep doing this so I can get in there with 2 hands, and then I will see you guys in the morning to see how this looks. So now we are ready to bake. This has been sitting out overnight. And the first thing you're gonna do is preheat your oven to 475. And you're gonna get your Dutch oven. And you're gonna put it in there, and it's gonna warm up with the oven. All right, so then when you take this out, you're gonna need to be really careful because it's gonna be super hot. But now you're gonna take this out. I'm gonna get some parchment paper and we're gonna flour it. And then you're gonna fold it, and then we're gonna let it sit again for 30 minutes. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna fold it. Hold on. So we're gonna flour our parchment paper. Turn the dough onto it. Okay, so we're just, you don't want to like kill all the bubbles. So we're just going to kind of fold it each side. Just kind of keep folding it in. And you're not going to do this for long, just until it kind of like looks like this. I'll show you from the top, hold on. I just folded it, like I kept like folding it over like this, kind of like an envelope. And now we're gonna let this sit again for 30 minutes. You wanna make sure that you set a timer. You don't want this to over sit. So hopefully in 30 minutes, the oven will be preheated. And we're gonna pop this bad boy, parchment paper included, into the oven. I'm gonna place what is this, plastic wrap over it again, just to keep it covered, you know? Oh my God, the lighting is so, it's washing everything out. So I'm gonna set my timer for 30 minutes. And then we're gonna pop this bad boy in the oven. Oh, that was 30 seconds, sorry. Then we're gonna pop this bad boy in the oven. I have some more starter growing back here because I'm gonna make some more for my mom tomorrow. And I put about 50 grams to keep alive in the fridge. So once you're ready to stop continuing to feed your starter, you're gonna put it in the fridge. It just stops, it just slows it down. You're gonna have to feed it. I think it says every 5 to 7 days. So I have a reminder on my phone to feed it in 5 days just to keep it alive. But then you just keep it in the fridge. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do, if I'm just gonna keep it in the fridge or figure out how to freeze it. But for now, I'm just keeping a little bit in the fridge that I plan on feeding once a week. The 30 minutes is up. This is so hot, guys. When you take it out of the oven, be very, very careful. Also, when we're gonna put it in the pot with the parchment paper, I'm gonna put the mitts back on. So now that it's out, we're gonna take a knife and score it. Let's see if I have any clean. I'm gonna do something fun. Well, it's not that fun, it's just 3. Go. Okay, so I'm gonna put my mitts back on. See that? And then we're gonna put this in here. Just like this. And now we're gonna put it in the oven closed at 475, I think, for 20 minutes. Let me double check. Actually, before we put it back in, now we're gonna lower it to 425. And now we're gonna put it in, cook it for 20 minutes, and then we're gonna take the lid off for another 20 minutes. 20 minutes is up. I'm gonna take the lid off. Ooh, looks good. And now we are going to cook it for 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes without the lid. Alexa, set a timer for 25 minutes. Oh my gosh, guys, I am so excited. I wish you could, do you hear that? Do you hear that crust? So it's done, it's out of the oven. I took the lid off and I put it in for 25 minutes. You guys saw that. So now I'm gonna pull it out and I'm gonna let it cool. And then we are gonna cut into this bad boy. Oh my God, you guys have no idea how happy this makes me. Let's cut into this bad boy. You hear that crunch? Oh my God. Ah, it's still hot. I couldn't wait any longer. See that? Oh my gosh. Let's taste a piece. I'm sorry that this is how I look. Guys, I'm so proud of myself. If you have time to invest in this, I highly recommend doing this during your quarantine time. If you have any questions about this, because I'm sure this video is not very thorough because I'm the worst, but if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I will have all the links down below to the starter recipe that I basically followed and the bread recipe. And again, don't feel bad to ask me a million questions because I'm sure I left out a lot. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna go enjoy more bread.